Hello, everybody. It's Tuesday once again. And in this case, we are still in Tennessee. We can't get out. We have traveled to go to one of the kings of all of whiskey and bourbon.
So this is our last stop in Tennessee for now. And we're heading a little south. And you can probably guess where it is. It's a dry county that has a huge distillery.
My name is Wayne.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we are Your Bourbon Journey.
Welcome to episode 50 of Bourbon Trail Tales and Tastes. This date was August 20th of 2023, and we are in Lynchburg, Tennessee. Yes, the home of Jack Daniel's Distillery. This was our 53rd distillery to visit and our 4th in the state of Tennessee. It was pretty exciting. When you walk across the street to the visitor center, which is almost like a museum in itself. So we walked in and we checked in, and for our tour, I had prepaid for a special lemonade Lynchburg slushie on the tour, so she made sure I got my tickets for that. I heard the lady that was doing the check-ins warning people if they did not have a prepaid ticket, you could not get a slushie on the tour, because again, this is a dry county. We walked around the visitor center, which is just phenomenal. Honestly, if you couldn't get a tour, you could learn so much about Jack Daniel's just walking around there. You could spend probably 2 to 3 hours in there. There's just so much stuff to read, look at, take pictures. And it was interesting, since the day before we had been in Uncle Nearest, they have a whole section about Nearest Green, who was the distiller with Jack Daniel's way back when. And they have a commemorative area all for him there, which it was really interesting, since we had just been there 2 distilleries before, to see the continuity and the fact that they were already really honoring him there. I thought that was great.
So we ended up sitting around, and finally they called our bus number out, and we walked out, got on the bus, of course drove up the hill to get the cocktails. And naturally, because some people don't listen, there were people upset that they couldn't get a cocktail. I don't know how they didn't hear, because it's very clear. But
it was a really hot day, so that lemonade slushie was quite welcoming.
It worked pretty well. It tasted pretty good. We ended up walking, and we saw the area where they had all the stuff for the Lincoln County process.
Where they actually burned the maple to make the maple charcoal.
Yeah. Stacks and stacks and stacks of it off in the distance. It was neat. And then we walked over to the area where probably one of the best purchases in the history of the country as far as a private enterprise was they bought for $2,000 in the 1860s this area of land that basically was where the water was. And they own the rights to all the water, and they're still using the water to this day. So they basically have paid off the water way, way, way back. So that's probably part of the reason why their costs are a little bit down on a lot of their stuff, because they're not paying for water.
And a really cool thing, it's a beautiful spot because it's carved into a mountain, and you can just see the water streaming back there, which is great. Of course, we couldn't go back in there, but you got the idea. And that statue of Jack Daniel's was out there, so that's a great photo op. Everybody was stopping to take pictures with Jack, so that made a lot of sense. But then I'm like, let's get to the distillery part. So we walked, and it was funny because they told us in the beginning that we had to say that we understood there was a third of a mile of walking and 172 steps we would have to take. It's just funny, they counted them out, and I don't know if that's an accurate number, but I'm sure it is, or they wouldn't have put it on the tour. But we get to probably my most disappointing part of a production tour I've ever been on, to be honest. We walked up a bunch of stairs, 2 flights of stairs, to get into where they have the fermenting tanks. And I have my phone, and they're like, oh, you can't take pictures here. And I said, why? I've never been told that. But we've been told at certain places you can't take video. We've never been told you can't take photos. He said, well, it's a fire hazard. I'm sorry, I don't have an old brownie camera where the flash bulb is popping and sending sparks out. That's just the most crazy thing I've ever heard of. So whatever they're hiding, I don't know, but I thought that was pretty annoying. So we talked a little bit about the fermenting process, and then when it all happens with the Lincoln County process and all that. Then we had to walk a bunch more stairs to something else where their stills were and such, which we didn't get to actually see much of. So the actual production part was highly limited.
Well, and it's also the only place that I never physically saw the mash.
Yeah.
We've been on tours at certain places where they didn't have any production going on at that time. But this is the only one that I've been to where production was going on at that time that we couldn't see it because they were so fearful of explosions that they covered it with a wooden top.
Yeah, everything was covered.
And you couldn't see into it. It was the most, I'll be honest, been to a bunch of places. It's the most ridiculous cock and bull story I've ever heard.
This was our 53rd distillery and the first time we ever experienced this. And I'm going to tell you, we've been to 70 now and we've not experienced that anywhere else.
Yeah, so
they should just not call it a production tour is the bottom
Agreed.
line. And just call it a historic tour or something.
Yeah.
We did walk around. It was beautiful grounds. We did hear a lot of really interesting things.
Yeah.
But if you cut the production piece out of it, which really wasn't a production tour, I would have been a lot happier. We wouldn't have had all the stairs. It wouldn't have all the heat. And you wouldn't have so many pounds of disappointment.
But we ended up getting done with that, and we ended up finally walking back to the area where we could go ahead and do a tasting.
We walked through a rick house to get
Yes.
it had like a tunnel-like thing. You could walk through a rick house, and that's where the tasting actually took place. Was at the end. There was a room there, so that was a great place for a tasting. Except for when we've done barrel thieving, I don't think we've ever done a tasting kind of adjacent to a rick house before.
That was neat, and we did the tasting of the different products they had, and
I think it was 4 or 5 tastes, and we had paid for the upgraded taste so we could get some additional tastes and try some of the barrel proof things like that.
so we ended up getting done with that, and we walked in, and we were able to purchase a couple things.
First, the guide told us how we had to purchase. So
Yes.
since it's a dry county, you can't purchase liquor, but you can purchase souvenirs. So we were told that when we walked into the bottle shop, it's really a souvenir commemorative shop. So anything that you purchase in there is a commemorative item to remember your trip. Right? Did we get that?
Yeah.
So this is one of the bottles. We also got a Gentleman Jack bottle. It's beautiful. The back of the bottle has an engraved. And then we got a really cool, it's still only released number 11 and a little 375. And it is their Jack Daniel's finished in tequila barrels.
And that was actually pretty good.
We've shared that with people that have come over. We probably would have tasted it today, except it's getting a little low. But we shared it with some tequila fans, and they all found it pretty good.
So we decided to settle on this bottle in front of us that we have not opened until today. So Rebecca, go ahead and give the specs to our fans out there of what we are about ready to drink.
Sure will. This is a Jack Daniel's single barrel. It's a Tennessee whiskey, of course. Company is Brown-Forman. The distillery is Jack Daniel's Distillery. The mash bill is their standard mash bill of 80% corn, 12% malted barley, and 8% rye. It is non-age stated, but per the company's various press releases, most of their single barrels are 4 to 7 years old. This comes in at a whopping 128.8 proof. MSRP ranges between 65 and 75. This was bottled on June 27th of 2023 and is barrel number 23-05984. We purchased it on August 20th of 2023 for $66.67, an interesting price point, at the Jack Daniel's Distillery. So I'm looking forward to trying it. We've done the Black Label Jack, of course. We've done some single barrel ryes, which we're not fans of. So I have some moderate hopes that this might be yummy. What are your hopes, Wayne?
To me, hope is just deferred disappointment.
Okay, Rodney.
Nose is pretty good, I admit.
It smells like a bourbon nose.
It's caramel.
It's sweet. It's very sweet on the nose. I'm trying not to get too deep because it is almost
well, I
130
almost
proof.
feel like this has been a run because very floral. There's a lightness about it. Not bad smelling.
It's got a very nice, light, but sweet nose. And considering the fact that it's almost 130 proof, that's kind of crazy. I think it's going to have some good viscosity because the legs are still forming. I like a good viscosity on a whiskey, so I'm pretty happy about that. So let's go ahead and taste it to our first taste of a Jack Daniel's single barrel from the strip. Cheers. I gotta get that proof set in because that is hot.
It's hot, boom.
I will say that the things we have tried with Jack Daniel's, they do a lot of proofy things, but the things we've had, it really drinks its proof.
Oh yeah, it's one of those things you can guess the proof. I would be guessing this 125, 130. It drinks its proof.
128.8.
Yeah. it's proofy.
I'm gonna have another sip.
I need to try it again.
I was just going to say, I'm getting some caramel notes.
So far, I enjoy the smell better than the taste.
I'm finding it very similar to the nose. It's still sweet on the palate. It still has that caramel on the palate. I am getting some cinnamon notes now.
I am getting cinnamon. I didn't get that on the nose myself. I'm gonna try it again.
Are you getting the thing you don't like? Wayne does not like banana. And one of the reasons he's never really cared for a lot of Jack Daniel's products is it has so much banana.
I'm not getting banana,
I'm not either.
but I'm getting a slight industrial taste that I tend to get in the rye. It is very, very slight.
Okay.
A lot of times when I've had Jack Daniel's, I'll be honest, I've said it on camera, I'll say it again. Forgive me if you like it out there. I get turpentine and or industrial.
That's more for
I'm
the
not-
rye for me, but
Yeah, and I've gotten a couple of their other things. I get it, just a thimble of it. I almost wonder if it's maybe that banana aspect that my brain is trying to turn off. I don't know. This is not too bad.
yeah, because when I was reading the mash bill, I was thinking how much I thought Wayne would like this because he likes something that's higher corn, and this is 80% corn. He's also a huge fan of barley, and this is 12% barley and only 8% rye. So I was thinking, wow, this might have some promise here. So it's got to be that yeast strain that brings those other notes in that I probably like it more than you do. I'm not saying this will be a daily drinker for me, but I wouldn't mind drinking this. I just can't do the rye.
And that works out. I am getting the caramel aspect of it. I don't think it's that bad. We have been curious to try a single barrel of theirs, and this one, at the price point, I will say this for Jack Daniel's.
Yeah.
In some places that we go in Kentucky that I won't mention that I like, could take note of, Jack Daniel's really has good price points. And even their stuff that is really high end, for instance, their 14, 12, 10, we have seen it available. We actually did purchase the 12 and 14 to review. You can find it. That's a really good plus point if you're a fan of the product.
You want to be
Because
able to have it.
You want to be able to have it, especially if you like it. I think they do a really good job. And I've always thought that their bottles are really cool looking.
I think they're almost a centerpiece kind of bottle. It would be really pretty to do something with it, whether it's a vase or make a lamp or something. It's got some really cool vibe to it. I think it's really lovely. Now, I'm going to say that I took another taste because I was starting to get some hints of other things. And while I'm not getting a strong banana flavor, there's enough banana there. And I've heard other people talk about this, but I've never gotten this before on Jack Daniel's. But I'm getting a bananas Foster kind of thing. And I get it sometimes on the single barrels for Old Forester,
Okay.
which is their sister companies. I think it's the caramel with that cinnamon, and then there's a lot of alcohol in here that's flaming up. Think about the flambe of Bananas Foster, and then that caramel that would be in there with that as the caramelized as they're flaming that. I'm getting hints of Bananas Foster here, like it was made tableside for me, because it's the wafting up and the nose and everything else, and I'm pleasantly liking this bottle. It would not, I might reach for it more often than I would something else, just that's Tennessee whiskey, simply because of the proof point. And I do enjoy Bananas Foster, so this might be something I reach for now and again. It wouldn't be a daily drinker for sure, but it could fall in that category that I like.
I would be willing to try this again after a while just to see if it changes up a little bit. It's not bad. I really hate saying it. I'm not a fan, but I do like this. And I think it's good. I think it's worth the money. I would buy it again.
Good price point.
At this price point, I would absolutely buy it again. I'm very pleasantly surprised. That makes me feel a little bit better because I've been very anti-Jack Daniel's. And this is not bad.
I'm pleased. And I know I was grumpy about the tour, but package the tour differently. Say what it is. Don't say you have production included if you're not really going to give the production tour. That's okay. We've done tours places that didn't include the production tour, and we were perfectly satisfied because we knew what we were getting going in. I think the other parts of the tour were fabulous. It is gorgeous. You need to go there. If you're on a bourbon and or whiskey journey, this needs to be part of your stopping point. You have to go there and do this, I think. You can't not go to one of the oldest facilities and go to one of the longest and one of the best-selling brands out there without visiting. You have to go to Jack Daniel's. You just have to. The whole town is fascinating. Even taking the little shuttle into town to go to all the gift shops is fascinating. So you have to make a trip to Lynchburg, okay? I'm just saying, don't leave it off your list. Even if you're not a Jack Daniel's fan, you have to go there.
Yeah, and I would probably at some point go back there again. I think the area was gorgeous. I do agree, all the rest of it was great. One of the things that we did is they had a picture that we took in front of the bus. That we
I think they took that right before we got on the bus. They did everybody's pictures first before we got on the bus to go up to the hill.
Yes, and I ended up flipping and buying it, which I don't regret because it was a really cool picture. So the tour itself and the town were great. The gift shop in town was outstanding.
Amazing.
We bought a stave that's hanging up here that you can't see that says welcome. It was $24.95. Now we've been all over a bunch of different distilleries that have had staves engraved with their name and other things. I've never found anything cheaper than $24.95. We bought coffee that was there. The gift shop's great.
I bought a book about the history of Jack Daniel's.
Yeah.
If they have a really good book at the distilleries, we're really trying to build quite a bourbon and whiskey library. So I did get a book there, which means they had some pretty extensive things. And we could have bought a gazillion things there. There were just so many things, but
it's worth the trip. It's really enjoyable. The property is beautiful. You need to go because it's just great.
But next week, we'll take you back to Kentucky.
So to end this, I'd like to lift our glass to Jack Daniel's and everybody that works out there. You did a really good job with your product. It was a fantastic and beautiful property, and we look forward to going back out there in the future. If you like what we do, hit the subscribe button. Always remember to drink responsibly. Today, if you have it, and you have a single barrel especially, drink some Jack Daniel's. Cheers.
Cheers.